Hey gun people, gonna talk about civil stuff here. I just wanted to get a quick reminder of my Obama flag, the state of the country, state of the union, since that piece of shit traitor's non-American whatever. I can't even say it. I'm just anyway, we're gonna talk about civil crimes here. We only got a few weeks till the election, so it's going to be interesting to see which way the country goes. There's a lot of uneducated and uninformed voters who are going to vote because you're in the titty club or the favorite club. Damn sun always washes this out. I can't really see if I'm in there or not if I tilt it down a little bit. Alright, you can see me now. Can you hear me now? Can you see me now? You know, we're going to talk about when cops respond to civil issues. And civil issues are one of those things, and I just did a video on it where the cop showed up and I said, did he taser the guy too quick? And a lot of you were like, oh man, he had no reason to taser the guy. The guy just got off his trunk. He wasn't doing anything. He was a poor victim. I don't buy that. But anyway, I'm going to explain to you on how problems are with civil. I'm really amazed at how many people are bothered by me drinking coffee when I do these videos. It's like, does he really need coffee to do a video? Can he not sit? It's not about needing it. It's about wanting it. It's my video. I drink coffee. I come out here. I'm talking to people. I'm trying to educate people on from my experience and what cops go through. And I'm having a cup of coffee. Relax. Okay, I got whiskey in there. He's drunk. He's shut up, you big dummies. Damn whining ass, oversensitive, pansy ass country. Ah, that's good. All right. So, man, I needed that. They got new coffee. I was going to do an article on one of my news stories. They got new coffee that's supposed to be like Viagra. So if somebody sends me some of that coffee and I'm doing a video, suddenly I pop one up, you know. I was like, are you kidding me? They got a coffee now. They put some supplement in there that's supposed to act just like Viagra. You have a cup of coffee, you go have sex, whatever. Anyway, we're talking about civil issues and cops. So what's the difference between a civil issue and a criminal issue? I've covered this before. Most people understand it. Civil issues are not criminal. You can't go to jail. You can't go to prison. The government doesn't enforce civil issues unless they can't get you through criminal, and then they have the feds come in and do some bullshit civil rights investigation or crime. But again, we're still getting into criminal. So just because it says civil rights doesn't mean it's not criminal. A civil issue is normally a dispute between parties, and I should have looked up the exact definition because some lawyer is going to come here and write it out. Is basically, from a cop's perspective, it's an issue to where government can't get involved. We're not supposed to, as a cop, we're not supposed to give legal advice. We're not supposed to go out there and try to pick sides and say, okay, I've heard both your stories, I think you're right. We're not supposed to play judge and jury out there. We don't have all the facts, we don't have all the witnesses, we don't have any paperwork, we don't have anything. And on this video, I had all kind of comments about, why didn't the cop do this? And why couldn't a cop just do this? And why didn't a cop leave? And what? Look, civil issues as a cop, most cops hate civil issues. Not because we're lazy or we don't want to help people, because there's no clearly defined way for us to handle it. We can't go there with something, okay, here's your authority, here's what you can do. And that's not the way it is for a civil issue. When a cop shows up to a civil issue, we are basically there to keep the peace. We're not supposed to take sides. We're not supposed to enforce. We can't say, you got to do this and you got to do... Because that's not our job. We don't have all the facts. If you want to go to civil court, go to civil court. The judge will let you subpoena information. You argue in front of the judge, and the judge can say, you're right, you're wrong, you get this, you get that. Cops can't do that. So everybody wants us to go there and play peacemaker, not get involved, and then just hang around and sit there and listen to everybody whine and cry until the crime's committed. Because when a cop shows up to a civil issue, unless a crime's committed, we can't act. We have no authority. We are there to enforce criminal behavior, to stop criminal behavior, to arrest if we see criminal behavior, but we have no authority to decide in a civil matter, hey, I gave her a wedding ring, and she wants a divorce. I want my ring back. She won't give it to me. I'm calling the cops. Cop shows up. Hey guy, I can't make her give you a ring, civil matter. Well, I got a receipt. Dude, it's a civil matter. You gotta go take her to court. Well, that's bullshit. She's gonna throw the ring away. She told me she's gonna throw it away. Sorry, dude, I can't take it. Man, fuck you, I'm taking the ring. Now he grabs her, she pulls away. Now we have a crime. Now a cop can act. Now the guy gets arrested. Okay, I mean, that's, and to be honest, I mean, cops aren't going to tell you this, especially cops that are working, because their agency would kick their ass. But when cops show up to a civil issue, our main purpose is to say, you know what? You got us here. We can't do nothing. Once we tell you that it's a civil matter and there's no crime, we're done. So people go, well, why don't you just leave then? There's a term in legal mumbo-jumbo land about special relationships. And when a cop shows up and gets involved or places himself in a situation, he's created a quasi-special relationship with the parties. And when you abandon a special relationship, you can be held liable for what happened because of your abandonment. So if a cop shows up and goes, da-da-da, police are here, what can I do for you? Who committed crime? Who do I need to arrest? And the people go, oh, it's civil, and it's like, it's a civil matter, there's been no crime. Thanks a lot, y'all have a nice day. I turn around and leave, and now one of you knuckleheads get in a fight, punch the other one, beat him up, cut him, stab him, shoot him, and now I'm called back there. Now the sergeant's like, why did you leave? Now the DA and everybody else is like, hey man, you established a special relationship, you abandoned that special relationship when you left, you allowed this person to get assaulted, now you subjected the city to get sued. Why did you leave? Because I couldn't do shit, it was a civil matter. Well, you can't leave. Okay, so let me get this straight. I show up, I have no authority, I can't do anything, but I can't leave. Yeah, that's right, you got it. What's the problem? Freaking cops are so stupid they can't figure this out. Come on, people! You gotta realize when cops show up, it's like, shit, we've got all these rules and policies and what we can do. And then every time there's a bad incident, the department wants to cover their ass. God damn, that Rick left last time. Shit, we gotta stop that. Let's add in a policy. If you show up and leave within 5 minutes, you're gonna be out of policy and you're gonna face discipline. So now cops go there and it's like, well shit, it's in a policy, I gotta be here for 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes are up, I can't do anything, y'all have a nice day, I'm leaving. Damn it! Those cops are working around a policy. So you get the admin, lieutenants, and all the idiots up there with their little shirts and ties on going, let's make policy that they can't leave unless they're positive that everybody's safe, and if anybody gets hurt, it's going to be their fault, and they're going to have to justify why they left and they couldn't predict it. Okay, let's write that in policy. So now, 6 years later, your policy book is this freaking thick, and you get cops in there and you're like, damn, you violated policy. Really? What page? Well, section 4 of policy 1.421, paragraph C of A says that you should have, would have, could have done this and you didn't. Well, shit, I guess I'm just in violation of policy. I mean, at some point, cops just go, whatever. You know what? You go out there, you do the best you can, you show up to calls, you try to mediate, you try to do something, but if you take sides on a civil issue, it's going to bite you in the ass every time. Somebody's going to say, you know what, he went there, and my wife, just because she's got big titties that I paid for, and they cost me $5,000, and the cop was just staring at those titties, so he took her side. And that's bullshit, and Biden was a civil matter, and he should have stayed out of it. Oh my God, are you serious? I mean, I had a cop show up in California. I usually have pretty good neighbors, but I had these last neighbors right before I left that moved in. They were Mexican. I got no problem with Mexicans. Some of my best friends are Mexicans. I got no problem Mexican, but they come there, they got 14 kids, they have parties every Sunday, there's beer bottles all over the driveway and in the car, they park on the stinking road, or on the driveway and in the front yard. The place is trash, they're partying all night, and I'm like, shit, I got fed up with the shit. So I started kind of pushing back on, you need to keep your dogs quiet, there's a thing, and I started enforcing some of the HOA rules around there, and they got pissed. So his wife, total kind lady, C for kind. So anyway, she ends up calling the cops on me, and I'm like, what, really? She's following back from mailbox. You just think you're a cop, you're an asshole, and you can't do that, and you can't come over there. And we had a zero property line in California, big issue. Don't ever buy zero property lines. It's zero property line, meaning your side of the house is their side, So they can bang on your walls, they can do and everything, but you have the right to go over there to paint or do anything on your wall. But they're not supposed to stop you from going over there, but you're supposed to ask permission, and if they don't give you permission, then you can take them to court, or you can go and it's not trash. So I went over there because their kids were bouncing balls off the wall, so I went over there and took pictures. Well, I have to be in their yard, take pictures. So she calls the cops on me, saying he's trespassing. So the cop gets there, and I go, dude, it ain't trespassing. I said, it's an easement. I've got access to it. It's on the side of my house. Read the law. It's property line. I have a right to go over there. Well, according to the restrictions that she showed me, you're supposed to ask permission. And I go, okay, great. I said, it's a civil matter. Then let's go to court. Tell her to take me to court. I said, it ain't a cop matter. They're calling you out here wasting your time. And the cop's like, whoa, you know, as a neighbor, you should. And I looked at him, and my buddy was sergeant. We used to work together in the Air Force. He was sergeant. He ended up showing up to the call. So we're over here bullshitting, and he's letting his officer handle it. He's staying out of it. He's a good guy. He's like, I'm going to let him handle it. So the guy comes out. He sees me talking to sergeant, but he don't know we're buddies. And, of course, the Mexican family with the 1,400 illegal cousins that come over and drink and sleep in the backyard, do all the other bullshit. We're over there raising hell. They all come out and they're staring, so they start yelling at the cops. Just because he's a cop, you're not going to do nothing, and blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at him like, yeah, whatever. And my sergeant's like looking at him like, damn, dude, you got some weirdos. But anyway, so this was an issue to where it was a civil matter. And I was like, dude, it's a civil matter. Tell him to. And of course, when before the cops got there, she's following me back because we had these community mailboxes. You got to walk down. They're all in a little box. So she's following back from the mailbox. You know, you think you're a cop, I ain't scared of you, and just being a total all the way back, nasty, just rude. So I'm ignoring her. I'm like, whatever, you're just trying to provoke me. I don't give a shit. So I just walked in and ignored her. Well, that pissed her off. So when the cops come, she starts crying as soon as they get there. He's a cop, and I'm scared, and I don't know what. And I'm looking at her like, are you kidding me? I go, you're crying now? I said, 2 minutes ago before the cops came, you're here? I said, I've been living here for 15 years. I ain't never had the cops call on me. You move in for 3 months, and now you call the cops, and it's me? So anyway, so that was a civil issue. Well, as the cop leaves, again, he didn't know me and the sergeant were buddies, and I know the sergeant talked to him afterwards and go, dude, you stepped on your dick there. You ain't supposed to be taking sides. Because he went inside. He didn't even talk to me. He went inside. She was crying. She was a woman. He talked to her. Spent like 20 minutes over there. When he comes out, he's like, you know, she said you went on. I said, I did go over there. And I said, you know, and I explained to him. He's like, well, as a neighbor, you should be trying to get along. I go, look, dude, they're not trying to get along. They're a pain in the ass. They've moved in. I said, they're pissing off everybody. I said, don't come here for one call and start preaching to me about what I should be doing when you haven't even talked to me or got my side. Well, if you're going to be a difficult neighbor, you might end up in court. I go, I might end up in court. But I said, this is a civil matter, so do your job and leave, because there's no criminal offense here. And he's got all puffy, and he left. And, you know, my sergeant left, and I talked to him later and shit, and he goes, yeah, I kind of told him that he shouldn't be, you know, giving advice and taking sides. But whatever. I mean, I wasn't trying to get the guy in trouble. And the guy didn't get in trouble. Sergeant knew, but it's very easy for cops to come there. We see a woman in distress. She's crying and worried and upset, so we end up listening to her to calm her down and to try and talk to him, tell the guy to wait a minute, and we'll go get the other guy's side. But in a civil matter, we have no authority. Cops can't do anything. And if you know that, when a cop comes over in a civil matter and starts trying to, well, you need to do that and you need to do that. Bullshit. You ain't got no authority here. What's the offense? What's the crime? I mean, I've been to several civil things. My hands are tied. I would have loved to win. Dude, you're wrong. Normally what cops will do is we try to get one party to leave. We try to negotiate without getting involved, without making it mandatory, but that's a very fine line to dance. Everybody wants cops to be perfect and good at it, and it's very difficult, especially for younger cops that haven't done a lot of these, to go, well, you know, I don't know what to do, and so they just immediately go back to academy and go, well, you need to do that, or I'm going to take you to jail. And then they end up getting a complaint because they threatened to take somebody to jail over a civil matter when there was no criminal offense. But that's the only thing in their repertoire of thoughts and ideas and in their toolbox. They go, I don't have anything else. I'll take you to jail if you don't do it. You can't do that. And so cops are in a very helpless situation when we go to civil calls. So when you want to talk about that cop that showed up to the guy on the corner and the woman saying, it's my clothes and it's not my clothes, and the cop's like, dude, why don't you just let her go get the clothes and then you take her? I mean, he's trying to negotiate something, but he has no authority. There's been no criminal offense. Nobody's been hit. What's he going to do? Well, the guy then finally, and another issue I got on civil call is he had no right to ask for ID because, okay, a lot of states say in order to ID somebody, you have to have reasonable articulable suspicion or some sort of suspicion that they have either committed a crime, about to commit a crime, or have committed a crime. So, and that's kind of true. But the other side is cops have a right to know who we're dealing with. When we show up to do an investigation, we have a right to ID the parties to make sure we're not dealing with a wanted felon. I don't want to be dealing with a dude that's wanted for cop killing, and because some idiot out there in YouTube land is saying, you can't ID without a crime. So I'm not going to ID anybody. They got gang tattoos. They've got gang brothers hanging around them. There's 14 guys there, and I'm not going to ID anybody. Because normally when you start IDing people, people leave. Because they have warrants, they're on parole, they're on probation. They don't want to deal with the cops. So they leave. So cops a lot of times start saying, I need to see ID. Who's ever involved in this, I need to see your ID. Suddenly, the 5 people that were complaining and yapping and he did that, blah, blah, all of a sudden they all leave and there's one guy standing there. I need to see your ID. And then you got the YouTube Walmart Law School of freaking Walmart coming on. You can't ID without a crime. You can't. Look, a cop has a right to work in a safe environment where he knows who he's dealing with. I have a right to ID people if I'm conducting an investigation, and when a cop is called and dispatched or is flagged down or sees something that is suspicious and he starts a field investigation, he has a right to know who he's dealing with for several reasons. One, I got to do a report to say who I contacted and what I did. I have to do due diligence to show that I took reasonable steps to secure where I'm working and contacting, to protect the parties involved, to make sure one person didn't have a restraining order on the other body, and there wasn't ongoing issues, there's not an arrest warrant for anybody, nobody's on probation for drugs or needles or guns. I mean, all that information will create an environment for me to go, okay, let me get down to the bottom of this. All right, what's going on? What's the issue? How can we work this out? It's a civil matter. I can't do much. That's called an investigation, people. I mean, I know people want to have cops to have these stinking robots that show up. How you doing, police officer, here to help. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't showing your ID. I didn't commit a crime. Yes, sir. Have a nice day, citizen. And leave. I mean, that's just freaking ridiculous. You'd have no law and order whatsoever, and you'd have a bunch of victims getting their ass whipped. You would go back to the old school of, hey, the laws of the jungle. The cops don't come. Nobody protects you. You either protect yourself or you get your ass beat. You're either a victim or you're the assailant. Either one. So, I mean, cut some cops some slack on civil issues and understand what a civil issue is and how complex it is for law enforcement. We have no jurisdiction on civil issues. We have jurisdiction over criminal issues. So unless it's a criminal crime, something, trespassing, assault, theft, then, I mean, and again, if you're calling the cops and you want their help, you better be able to find what the crime is when the cop gets there. Because if you're just whining and bitching about civil stuff, the cop is going to be able to say, it's a civil matter, I'm washing my hands, I'm done. Now, if you call me to your house and I'm only talking to you, and there's not an immediate chance of violence, and there's not 2 people there arguing, and I leave, I'm not abandoning a situation, I'm not abandoning a special relationship, because it's not reasonable for me to predict when you're going to go to the guy's house, or the guy's going to come to your house, or you're going to go meet in a parking lot and you're going to call and y'all are going to meet in the park and duke it out and stab each other. I can't picture all those things. That's not reasonable. But if you're both there and you're in a hostile situation, you're both pissed and you're both saying the other person's wrong and neither one of you are backing down, a cop just can't leave and then let the consequences happen because he'll be blamed for abandoning his special relationship from where he showed up and made contact. And if a cop shows up, talks to people, does an investigation, starts giving advice saying, hey, you probably need to take him to court, and this is a civil matter, and you can do that, and you can file a restraining order, and you can do this, and I can kind of tell you where to go to get information in court, and I don't document who I talked to, why I contacted them, did I run them for warrants? Because when somebody ends up dead the next day, and most people don't understand this, when they end up dead, stabbed, and you get a call, and it's like, hey man, this person was contacted yesterday by Officer Smuckatelli, and he didn't ID him. And why didn't he ID the other guy? And who's our suspect? And because you didn't ID the guy, you don't know who the suspect is. You got a general description. Well, you know, Sergeant, I just showed up, and the guy goes, well, by law, I don't have to ID you. And I went, okay, you can leave. And he's probably the guy that killed him, but I don't have any other information because the YouTube lawyers told me that I can't ask for ID unless he committed a crime. Come on, people, pull your head out. Freaking ain't baby laying around here shit. Hopefully Obama will be gone soon. Damn, country's in a mess. All right, we'll end that there.